So the meta has legitimately settled down inside Warzone, and in this video we're going to be going over what are the 10 best loadouts to use inside Warzone right now. If you do enjoy content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k. Also click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel. But do keep in mind these loadouts are both for Rebirth as well as Caldera, because they both now have 300 HP health. But let's get straight into this as I want to fire through these loadouts as quickly as possible. So starting off at number 10, we have a loadout that I've been kind of just trying out in game, and just to see how it actually performs, because a lot of people are hyping up these guns to be pretty good. So we've got the Type 100, which is a gun that I've always thought had quite a lot of recoil. Now it did get a couple of buffs when it comes to visual recoil, and the gun does feel a little bit better than before, but it does have one of the fastest possible TTKs when it comes to close range weapons in the game. For the build, you do want to use the recoil booster, the rapid barrel, slight reflector, folding stock, acrobatic, quick, polymer grip, and that's just to control the recoil, like I said before. 36 round mags is the mags that are going to give you the fastest possible TTK, so you have to use those. Hollow point, you can use subsonic or even lengthened, and enhanced up underbarrel, but this is the most popular build we're using for the Type 100 right now. Then the Whitley LMG is getting hyped up quite a lot right now, especially after the most recent buff. It got a buff to recoil control, but also a buff to its overall damage profile. And to be perfectly honest, I haven't fully leveled up this gun just yet. The gun feels okay in game, but obviously it is pretty slow because it's an LMG. But overall for the build, you want to obviously unlock the MX silencer for the best possible recoil control. The Gracie 28-inch barrel is the best barrel for this gun, which is the first one you unlock, of course, and it's going to be the best for long range. G16 or whatever optic you want. The R4 stock is the best at controlling recoil, so make sure you go for that one. Hard scope to help the recoil even further. On hand, you could choose fully loaded as well. The reason I choose on hand is for a slightly quicker ADS, if we can get a slight bonus out of the weapon there. Polymer grip for the recoil control. British 45 round mags is going to help with the recoil accuracy of this weapon. Now it does make the TTK a little bit slower, but considering how slow the TTK is of the game overall now, it shouldn't really con your weapon too much. And then we're using lengthened and enhanced up underbarrel. For classes 9 and 8, you can interchange these. These are our tempered, ghost, or our restock classes. So whatever you want to use in perk 2 that's not a primary weapon, then you can use some of these secondary options. So first of all, we've got the Grau with the top break pistols. So starting off with the Grau, it's our standard build, we all know this by now. So mono suppressor, archangel barrel, VLK optic, 60 round mags, commando foregrip. You can go for the iron sights if you like. That will make a free attachment slot, so you can use it for maybe a tac laser or something else. But overall, it's just a very well balanced gun, and the TTKs are pretty consistent now, especially since they've increased the TTK across the board for every weapon. Now when it comes to the top break pistol, this is basically a shotgun replacement. It actually kills faster than some of the shotguns in the game, especially after they took a bit of a nerf kind of buff, depending on how you want to look at it. But overall, it's a great secondary option. It actually has a great time to kill as well, especially after all the health changes. So you want to use the flash hider to help with the recoil control. It doesn't con anything that's important here. We're using the Wilkie stub barrel that doesn't change your damage profile, so we're still getting the consistent damage, but it does help with damage range and bullet velocity, which is always a bonus. Rapid action for the better fire rate. Russian short is going to help with the extra damage. Once again, we do need that. Shot shell is going to make this into the shotgun pistols that they are. Pine tar grip is going to help with hipfire accuracy and recoil control. Akimbo, of course, you do need this to make this gun actually viable at close range. Quick, and then we're using the G16 just to get a bit better accuracy. So at number 8, the Ghost and Tempered class. Again, we're using the Automaton here, which in my opinion is one of my favorite guns to use. Super low recoil, very easy to use inside Warzone, especially with this specific build. I've went over this build quite a lot of times. So MX silencer, 600mm barrel, G16, padded stock, tight grip, on hand for better ADS. You could go for fully loaded as well. Polymer grip, 75 round mags are the best for the best possible TTKs, and it's the largest available. Lengthened and hand stop underbarrel. So overall, this is a gun I really like using. Super low recoil, better than the M13 in my opinion as well, if you want to try out. Then pair it with the single Diamatti, which is the best single pistol in the game in my opinion. So you do want to use the agency suppressor. You can use the chrome line barrel, or you can use task force. You get a bit better strafe speeds, but you do need to look out for the recoil control there on this barrel. Then Tiger Team Spotlight for the better movement. You could go for 5mW, but I do think the movement's more important. Microflex LED, and then Salvo 30 round fast mags. At 6 and 7, we have our sniper rifle classes. Now, first of all, I do want to mention that I do think the AX50 is still bugged. It might have been changed already by now, but the build I'm going to give you is the build that you should be using once the fix takes place, just because I do want to make this video a little bit future proof, because they will be updating the game, of course, to fix that hit scan effect. On top of that, you can mix and match the sniper support weapons with classes 6 and 7, of course, but when it comes to the AX50 build, this is the build you should be using once they fix that hit scan issue. So mono suppressor, factory barrel, which is the longest possible, tac laser, assassin stock for a better ADS time, and then the stipple grip tape again for the ADS time. So this is the meta build for the AX50 that we should all be using. Then we're pairing that with the Volk, and the Volk overall is a really good sniper support option in my opinion. Now, it did get nerfed in terms of its movement speeds and that strafing that True Game Data found out about. However, overall still got very consistent close and medium range TTKs. So recoil booster as always for the faster fire rate, it's going to give you a faster TTK. We actually want to go for the Krosnick barrel this time, and that's to give us the best possible recoil control. The one that was on that movement build was the last barrel here. However, like I said, we want the best possible recoil control. Slate reflector for or any optic you like really here. The adjustable stock is going to be the best at giving you a little bit better movement speeds and helping with the recoil. Fleet is going to give us better movement speeds, but you could go for perfectionist if you need the extra recoil control. On hand is going to give you a better ADS time, but you can go for fully loaded as well. But I'm just trying to build this weapon so it's got a balance between speed and recoil control. Polymer grip is going to give us recoil control, of course. 60 round mags is the best for TTK. Lengthened, and the hand stop under barrel. So at number 6, we have the other Modern Warfare sniper, believe it or not, and that's the HDR. This is the most popular sniper inside Warzone at the moment, and for very good reason. Mono suppressor, then you want to use the HDR Pro barrel for the best bullet velocity, tac laser, stalker count stock for the better ADS time is the only attachment that really helps with ADS time other than the tac laser, and then the focus perk for better flinch resistance to make sure you're landing all those shots. Overall, HDR is a solid sniper right now. And then to pair it with, you want to use the Cold War PPSH. This has got to be a very good sniper support option. Good bullet velocity for an SMG. Also, it's got good recoil control as well with the build that I'm showing you just now. And overall, it's just a very good gun. So you want to use the GRU suppressor for the recoil control and bullet velocity. Ranger barrel to give the bullet velocity, but you don't really get any recoil control here, which is the only issue with that barrel. However, if you do choose the task force, you're actually going to con the recoil, so you're better off with the Ranger just to get the bullet velocity bonuses. Microflex LED, which is going to help just make sure you land those shots in medium range. 71 round mag, and then the Spetsnaz speed grip to help with the side to side recoil, but it doesn't con your ADS firing movement speed, which is definitely very handy. So overall, definitely a solid build. Classes 5 through to 1 are all of our AR and SMG combos. You can mix and match these as you please. But at number 5, we have the Cooper Carbine paired with the H4 Blixen SMG. So Cooper Carbine build, very self-explanatory here. I've actually changed the build slightly just because people like to use this for the lowest possible recoil, and that's what we're building this gun for. So it's very easy to use. This is going to be the easiest gun to use in the entire game right now. And if you do want something that's going to land shots at long range, you have to use the Cooper Carbine. So MX silencer, Cooper custom barrel, G16 or whatever optic. Cooper 45 is going to be the best at controlling recoil. Tight grip, fully loaded, polymer grip, 60 round mags, which is the best possible mags, lengthened, and hand stop under barrel. And we're pairing this with the H4 Blixen because this gun is actually very solid. It has a really competitive TTK, and not only that, it's pretty easy to manage as well. So you want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate, you want to use the RMK barrel for the better damage. Now it does con your headshot damage, but overall it is going to improve your TTKs, especially paired with the recoil booster. Slate reflector, then we're using the Bergum MB stock, and that's so we don't get too many cons here to flinch resistance and recoil, but overall you do get a good movement boost. Fleet, as you do get a huge movement boost with that as well, but if you need the recoil control, you could choose Perfectionist. Quick, polymer grip for the recoil control because there's no cons on this one. 54 round mags are the best mags for this gun because it's going to increase that headshot damage back again. And then we've got subsonic, and then we've also got the hand stop under barrel. Now when it comes to subsonic, you can swap this out for lengthened. At number 4, we've got the XM4 and the Whale gun. Now they're not the complete meta weapons in the game, but they're definitely up there with competitive guns. So if you do want to just be competitive, and you did like the XM4 before, then you can continue to use this weapon. So the build for the XM4, very standard: agency suppressor, task force barrel, axial free time, 60 round mags, field agent grip. Moving on to the whale gun, and like I said, it is competitive, but the reason why it's not one of the best SMGs in the game is because the mags do let it down a little bit, especially since the higher mag options are not so great for TTK. Now, when it comes to the overall build, you want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate, shrouded barrel for the better recoil control. Is definitely going to be way more important than use maybe something like the Guyan short. Slate reflector, remove stock for the better movement speeds, acrobatic for movement speeds, quick for movement speeds, fabric grip for movement speeds. You could also go polymer if you really wanted to, but I do think the fabric is the best here. Then we're using the 40 round mags, which is going to help with the recoil control, also give you better fire rate, also give you better TTKs, and it doesn't con your movement nearly as much as the 64, so that's why we have to go with the 40, and that's why it's not really higher up on the list. Subsonic or lengthened and enhanced stop underbarrel. At number 3, we have a meta loadout for sure, and both of these guns are extremely powerful inside Warzone right now. The Bard got a huge buff when it comes to the mag changes and some slight adjustments, and the MP40's always been pretty solid anyway. Now we'll start off with the MP40 here. Not really too much has changed. We're using the recoil booster, the short barrel, but you can also go for the Krosnick barrel. It's going to give you better headshot potential. It's just going to come down to personal preference on this one, in my opinion, but most people are running the short. Slate reflector, folding stock. You can also go for removed, but it cons your recoil a bit too much. Then you can go for steady or perfectionist if you need the extra recoil control. Quick, fabric grip, the Grenko 45 round mags, that's not really changed. Subsonic, or you can go for lengthened and enhanced stop underbarrel. Now when it comes to the bar build, this is the build you need to be using to get that insane TTK that you actually get with this gun at long range, and it's relatively easy to use, which is very surprising. A lot of people said in the comments of our previous video that this gun's easy to use, and not until I actually tried it out for myself I realized that it actually is easy to use. So recoil booster for the faster fire rate. I know this is kind of different to what we usually recommend on long range guns, but considering the fire rate is very slow on the bar, we do need this. Then we're using the 30-inch barrel, which is the best possible barrel at controlling recoil. G16 optic, or whatever optic you like. Cooper SP stock is going to be the best at controlling recoil on this gun, also especially with that initial firing recoil, which is very important on a gun like this. Hard scope is going to help with the recoil overall of this weapon. It's the only one that helps, so it's the only one you should use. On hand, I think is very handy on this gun, especially because it moves really slow, so a faster ADS is always welcome. Polymer grip for the better accuracy with sustained fire, also helps with flinch resistance as well. Then we're using the 40 round Clouser mags. These are going to help you with the recoil as well as fire rate, which is very important with a gun like this. And the overall damage profile of this gun is absolutely insane anyway, so you don't really need to worry too much about the cons to that. Then we're using lengthen to bring up the bullet velocity again, and then the hand stop underbarrel to control the recoil. At number 2, we have the Vargo with the Owen gun. Now, the Vargo build, as we all know right now, is pretty standard. So you want to use a GRU suppressor, the task force barrel, the axial 3x optic, the 60 round mags, the Spetsnaz grip. This gun is very easy to use, not to mention it actually has one of the best TTKs for long range when you're landing multiple shot locations. So overall, it's a very solid gun to use, very easy to use, and most people probably have already leveled this up as well. So overall, Vargo is such a good gun right now. Then we are pairing this with the Owen gun, which actually has one of the fastest TTKs at close range if you use this specific build. So we're using no barrel here, so make sure you don't use any barrel. Recoil booster. Then we're using the slate reflector. You could choose whatever optic. Remove stock. It's going to give you better movement speeds. Fleet. It's going to give you better movement speeds. Quick, again, is going to help with sprint speeds. Fabric grip, again, for the movement speeds and hip fire. Then we're using the 9mm mags. This is going to give you the best possible TTK. Subsonic or lengthened, both are solid options here, and enhanced up underbarrel to control the recoil as much as possible. And last but not least, at number 1, the easiest and best loadout to use inside Warzone right now is by far and away the STG paired with the Armageddon SMG. Both of these guns are easy to use, and they're just very, very good right now. So STG build, we all kind of know this by now, so we're going to quickly run through it. So MX silencer for the recoil control, 760mm barrel because it is the best at controlling recoil, G16 or whatever optic, weighted stock is the best stock at controlling recoil for the STG, acrobatic will give you better movement speeds, you can also choose vital, it will give you a slightly faster TTK if you're landing a couple more chest shots, but it isn't a huge difference between the two. Then we're using on hand for a faster ADS time. You could choose fully loaded if you wanted to. Polymer grip for the recoil control. 50 round mags is the best mags to use for this gun. It's going to help with recoil and it's going to give you a better TTK. Lengthened and the hand slap under barrel. Then when it comes to the Armageddon, which is my personal favorite SMG to use right now, I do think overall it's very easy to use, but on top of that, you're going to get a solid TTK at close and medium range. When it comes to the build, you want to use the recoil booster for the faster fire rate. The body barrel is going to help give you no damage fall off, but also it's going to help with the damage and bullet velocity. So across the board, very good bonuses here. Slate reflector for the better sight picture, of course. Folding stock is the best stock for this gun. Vital is going to give you a better TTK, but again, it's only going to help a little bit, but that little bit on an SMG is more important than on an assault rifle, because most of your gunfights should be at long range, so Vital on the Armageddon is a must in my opinion. Perk 2 is quick, fabric grip for the better ADS and sprint to fire. 60 round mags is the best mags for this gun. Subsonic and then hand slap under barrel. You could also go for lengthened as well if you really wanted to. So there we have it. Those are the 10 best loadouts inside Warzone right now. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 50k. Also click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel, and thank you very much for watching.